Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the College Football Podcast with Alec Peccano and Bradley Walker. On today's show, we have a stacked show for you. We are going over our future sleeper teams, teams we got wrong in 2024, our way too early 2026 college football playoff predictions, hot takes, and we're going to start with our way too early record predictions for a select few teams for college football in 2025. So let's, with their schedule being included, we're going to start with Charlotte. So they start next year. They have an interesting first three games other than Monmouth. So they start at home against App State in the Duke's Mayo Classic and Bank of America Stadium. And it's too early to tell because, of course, these are way too early record predictions. So, do you think this is going to be a win or do you think it's going to be a loss?
I think it's going to be a loss. App State's a pretty good team now. You're playing a neutral site game. You're playing where the Carolina Panthers play, which, they can need anything to help them at the moment. No, I think App State will win the game. Charlotte's gonna you're gonna have a new head coach, which means you're gonna have the old coach's recruits. He's gonna try to get his recruits in there. It's gonna take him a year, 2 years to get his guys in there. So I think App State will get an early win. In fact, by looking at that schedule, if you look at the teams there, I see them winning maybe one game out of the 6 that I see on the screen. Monmouth may be the only win they have because North Carolina will be.
I think they lose to App State. I think they lose to North Carolina. They beat Monmouth. There is zero chance they beat Georgia.
Yeah.
Army. I don't want to say this might have been a flash in the pan for Army, but we'll see. I think they might beat Army. That's a toss-up. North Texas, I think that's a loss.
Yeah.
We go down to Rice. They're going to have a new head coach.
They'll probably win that game because Rice is not a good football team.
Temple, win.
That's a win, yeah.
So there's 3 wins right there. UTSA.
Loss.
So that puts them at 3-7.
East Carolina.
Loss, 3-8.
Tulane.
Loss, 3-9.
They're not beating USF. So
what's that make their record? 3-9.
3-9. 3-9.
Yeah, 3-9.
3-9.
So that's the first one. We now go to. Gonna go to Bradley's neck of the woods, and we're gonna go to the SEC. We're gonna go to South Carolina. Is gonna be the next team.
The Gamecocks.
Which, funny enough, they still have an avenue to make the playoff this year. Does it happen? I doubt it, but
I doubt it. Yeah, I doubt it too.
Wackier things have happened. So they start the year in Atlanta against Virginia Tech. That's going to be a loss.
Yeah, it's a neutral site game for both of them. Yeah, I'll go with that. I'll say that Vautech pulls that one out.
Then they play South Carolina State. Win.
That's a win, yeah.
Coastal.
Win. They'll win that game.
Win. So 2-1. Oh.
Then they play
That's Clemson. Weird. They play Clemson the 4th game of the season. Yeah, I think that's still going to be a loss.
Yeah. LSU. On the
win.
On the road, I don't. Yeah, that's an iffy one for me. Missouri, they'll win.
Well, you have to give either a win or loss for LSU.
It'll be a loss. I think LSU
Loss.
wins.
So they're 3-2. No, 2-3.
2-3. Yeah. Missouri, they'll win.
So
they'll
3-3. Ole Miss at
Miss.
Ole Miss. Loss.
3-4. Yeah.
3-4. Alabama loss.
3-5.
Kentucky win.
4-5.
Oklahoma
5-5.
win. Ooh. Oh, so you're saying win.
Yeah.
So 5-5. Vanderbilt
I think 6-5.
win, and then at A&M loss.
Well, I was gonna say I think they go 6-6 for the season, so they make the bowl game.
So there's South Carolina. So 6-6. Not too shabby. Now we're gonna go to now we're gonna go and we're gonna do a G5 school. Miami of Ohio. I think I start. Ooh,
Camp Randall.
loss.
Yep, I agree.
Rutgers win.
Okay.
So they're 1-1. UNLV at home.
Win.
2-1. Linden FCS school win.
Okay.
3-1 at Buffalo. Win. At Central Michigan.
Win because the Chippewas will have a new head coach.
So they're 5-1.
I think they beat Western Michigan too.
6-1. Ooh, Toledo. That's always a good game in the MAC. Loss.
I was gonna say, but I'll say 6-2. I'll take Toledo in that one.
Same. Akron win 7-2. Ball State win. They're gonna have a new coach. NIU win.
Okay.
9-2. Ohio. That's a rivalry game.
9-3.
I'm gonna say, loss. 9-3. Okay.
They'll get to a pretty good bowl game when 9 wins.
They might even make the conference championship.
The MAC, yeah.
Oh. What are we doing next? Arizona State.
The Sun Devils.
The Fighting Kenny Dillinghams.
I saw the replay yesterday of the kick, the BYU game. He was not happy.
No.
And
he literally blew a fuse.
And I'm not a claustrophobic person, but how could you not feel claustrophobic with all those people around you? Just saying. I mean, in the stands, yeah. I gave him a lot of props for keeping his cool for as much as he did.
Same. Northern Arizona win at Mississippi State. Win.
I'm gonna say win because Mississippi State's not quite where they used to be. So I'll take Sun Devils in that one.
So they start 2-0. Then they get Texas State at home.
They'll win that game too. Yeah.
The territory. What is with all these teams playing their rivalry games early in the season?
Well, it says date to be announced, so those games could be moved down. It's just that they're giving you the only 3 games that are scheduled are the ones that we've already gone through.
Okay, so
the
Arizona.
So I would say win. I mean, but Arizona's tough. I mean that's a rival game, so it's hard to say.
Texas Tech
loss. I think Texas Tech beats them.
So they are 4-1.
TCU.
I I say they lose to Texas Tech as well. So 4-1. Beat TCU 5-1.
I agree. Okay.
Beat Houston 6-1 because
6-1.
it's Willie Fritz's second year. West Virginia, that's a toss-up for me. That could be a win, but it also could be a loss because we don't know the status of Neil Brown yet. We don't know if he's going to be back or if they're going to fire him and bring in a new coach. For right now, I'm going to say win. So they're 7-1.
I'll say win, but because they're at home. They're at home. I like them at home.
Baylor on the road, loss.
Yeah.
7-2. At Colorado, loss 7-3. Yep. Oh boy, that's a gauntlet right there. Baylor on the road, Colorado on the road, Iowa State on the road. So they're 7-3 going into Iowa State. That's going to be a loss. 7-4. And then Utah. Win.
Oh, I was going to say they beat Utah. It's where they finish 8-3. 8-4.
8-4. Because they lost to Texas Tech, lost to Colorado, lost to Baylor.
Lost to Iowa State.
Yeah, that's 4. So 8-4 for their way too early record prediction. Now we're going to go to the Big Ten, and we got to go Ohio State. And I feel like I know what we're going to get in the comments. Oh, I completely forgot they play Texas next year.
Ooh, that's going to be an interesting game to start the season off.
New quarterback for both teams.
And at home,
one.
I'm going to go with Ohio State because they're
so am I.
Because they're
want to know
if they
Grambling's. If they were in Austin, that would be a loss.
Texas, yes, I would say.
But that's a win. So 1-0. Grambling State win.
Yeah, win. Ohio.
Ohio win. That should, you know what? And I know it's not, but Ohio State should be an out-of-conference rivalry game. After what their mascot did to Brutus a long time ago. I still haven't gotten that out of my system yet. After seeing that video, at Illinois, win. So 4-0. At Michigan, win.
Okay, 5-0.
Minnesota at home, win. Penn State fans, I recommend that you close your ears. You will lose to Ohio State again. So that makes Ohio State 7-0.
Yep.
Yeah. Rutgers, win. We own Rutgers. 8-0. UCLA at home.
Should be a win.
Win 8-0. No, 9. 9-0. At Purdue.
Should be a win because Purdue's not that good.
I say that with very low confidence. Because Purdue has the tendency to pull upsets.
And they're at home in West Lafayette. Yeah.
Win 10-0. Washington on the road. I'm going to say that's a win. 11.
Yeah.
And then Wisconsin. Camp Randall. Win.
Okay. So undefeated.
They don't play Oregon. They don't play USC. Well, they might play Oregon in the Big Ten championship game, for all we know.
Mm-hmm. The only one, buddy, that I would question in that thing would be the Texas game. Outside of the rest of them, I wouldn't.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
That's the only one I really question. And we're going back to the SEC now. And I think you see who
they play USF this year.
They play LIU the first game of the season.
They'll win. The USF game, I'm not sure. They beat the Bulls a couple years ago in the Swamp by just a field goal, and that was with Anthony Richardson. So I'm going to say a win, but it's not by a lot. I think our USF might pull an upset. We'll see how that goes. We'll see.
I'm going to say USF wins.
Okay. I'll be there.
1-1.
I'll be there, hopefully. I'll be there. So
At Miami.
that's a loss. They won't beat
Loss.
Miami. Even if Cam Ward gets drafted, that team's too good.
Well,
Georgia-
see, you don't. The thing is, who's Miami's quarterback going to be next year?
Good question. Good question.
And they're losing a lot of talent too.
Yeah. We'll have to see. That's a hard one to see.
I'm still going to say loss. So they're
okay.
2-1.
Or no, 1-2. Because you have
1
them
and
losing to
2.
USF. Okay.
Georgia.
I'm going to say a win. I think that's the last year that it's in Jacksonville for a couple years because the game will be in Atlanta in 2026 and in Raymond James Stadium in 2027. I hope to be in the stands at that game. I've never been to a Florida Georgia game, so I want to go.
Neither have I.
And I mean,
I'm going to say 1-2, so they're 2-2.
2-2. Okay, they'll beat Florida
Then
State.
Then Florida State 3-2.
Mississippi State
Win 4-2. Loss to Tennessee.
4-3. Texas probably
Loss.
4-4. Kentucky win.
Win 5-4. At LSU win.
In Ole Miss. I'll
Win.
say, and then they lose to the Aggies in College Station.
So 7.
6-6 or 7-5.
Wait. 7-5.
Okay. I'll take 7 I'll take 7-5 all year round if we can get 7-5 in Gainesville. So I'll take that. USF might finish 7-5 this year, so that would be pretty cool if they do that.
Now we're gonna go back to the group of 5, and we're gonna get a FIU. Start the year.
At Penn State, that's a loss.
Loss. No shot they win that. At home against is that a rivalry game for them? FAU?
Yeah, somewhat, because FAU, because they're in Miami, FAU's in Boca, so they're close to each other. Yeah, I guess you could consider that a rivalry game.
I'm going to say win for FIU. So they're 1-1. Don't sleep on UConn.
1-2?
Yep, 1-2. LIU should be went. Oh, they haven't announced their entire schedule.
Yeah, so they've only announced 4 games so far this year.
Okay, so let's try USC. We'll do a couple more, and then we're gonna move on to the next thing because I know you said you got an obligation at 3.
Yeah, I'm going to the Lightning game. I got to get ready to go drive to Tampa.
Okay, so USC, Southern Cal starts the year at home against Missouri State.
Win.
Georgia Southern.
Win.
So 2-0. Notre Dame on the road.
Loss.
Irish. 2-1. Illinois on the road. Win.
Okay.
Nebraska loss. So they're 2-3. 3-2.
3-2. They'll lose to Oregon.
3-3. At Purdue, win 4-3. Iowa. Iowa's that bug that just.
I'd say they win, but only because they're at home in LA. That's the only reason because Iowa's got to travel. Michigan might be the same thing too with them having to travel to Los Angeles.
So that makes them 5-2.
Then Michigan State
no,
probably
6-2.
Yeah.
So Michigan State 7-2, 8-2 after beating Northwestern, and then 8-3 after losing to UCLA.
Okay, their rival game.
And then now we are going to move on to our future sleeper teams. I'll let you go first.
So the sleeper teams in 2025, I kind of screwed the pooch this year because I said Missouri was going to make the college football playoff. That didn't happen. The teams I think this year that could be, I'm going to say the Florida Gators. I think that's a team that's on the rise again. I think them in the SEC. I would love to say Oklahoma, but I'm not sure if they're going to hold on to their head coach or not. So I'm not sure.
Well, let me say something. I've heard that they might give Venables one more year, even though they let go of the offensive coordinator, I think it's Seth Littrell.
Okay.
I heard they might give Venables one more year, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Continue.
I like. I don't know how you cannot say Iowa in the Big Ten because they're always a sleeper team. I'd love to say Indiana, but Indiana's had. I mean, hopefully it's not a 1-year wonder with them, and they end up, not having a good season next year. Can't see that happening to them. Trying to go through all the conferences. In the American, I mean, I would love to say USF as a sleeper team, but they, again, 7 wins this year. In that conference, in the American, I'm going to say North Texas. What the hell? I'm going to throw North Texas out there as a sleeper team in that conference. I won't say Charlotte or FAU. I think those two teams are in rebuild mode.
Temple, you could throw in there too.
Yeah. The Big 12, I'm going to say West Virginia. I think they're going to have a good year next year in the Big 12. And let's see which one. It's a 10, 12, Big 10. I don't watch a lot of MAC football, so I don't really know the teams very well. So I can't really give you a sleeper team in that conference. I don't watch a lot of their games. So yeah, I mean that would be my sleeper teams. So what happened? I can't hear him. Did I lose the volume? Is it me? Did I lose it? Oh. Yeah, I've lost the. Sorry, guys, we're having some technical difficulties.
Can you hear me now?
There you go.
I don't know what the issue is. Sorry, everybody, for the technical difficulties. We're having tech issues. We're back. Let me get back to my sleeper teams. So, as I was saying, 5 and 7 is a good building point for Michigan State. And again, I apologize for the immense technical issues. I don't know what happened. But I think Michigan State is a sleeper team going into 2025. Number 2 is Washington. I understand they're losing Will Rogers, but I think the quarterback that is it. Who's the coach at Washington? Fish?
Yeah, I believe so. He took over for the guy that left for Alabama.
DeBoer. He brought in. I think it's Desmond Williams, Damon Williams, and he's supposed to be the starting quarterback next year. Number 3, I know people are gonna dog on me for this. I'm ready to get burned again. Virginia Tech is a sleeper team for me again next year. I'm going back to the well again. Brett Pry, great guy. And number 4, laugh at me all you want, Vanderbilt. They should have been a sleeper team for me this year, but I didn't have expectations for them at all. I didn't even think they were going to be this good. But now we get 2 teams that we were wrong on this year, and I will let Bradley go first.
Well, like I mentioned in the start of the sleeper teams just a few whiles ago, I was wrong about Missouri. Obviously, I thought that this was the year that they would take the next step in the SEC. I was wrong about Miami. I think I kind of dogged Miami this year. Didn't think they were going to be as good. I thought USF was going to beat them. Obviously, that didn't come to fruition. And the Hurricanes are now a win away from being in the ACC championship game against SMU.
Unless they choke against Syracuse.
Yeah, I guess, yes. Unless they choke again. I don't see that happening. But, again, stranger things have happened on Saturdays this year in college football. I'm going to say wrong about Indiana. I don't think any of us had them winning 10 games this year. I don't think anybody did. And I have to say wrong about Vanderbilt. I think I always dog Vanderbilt every year, and now they're in the thick of it. And Alec has them as his sleeper team next season. And if they go out again next year and win 6 or 7 games, maybe they're no longer the laughingstock of the SEC. Maybe that goes to Kentucky. But we'll see.
Or Oklahoma.
Or Oklahoma. Yeah. So, either way.
Okay, I've got a laundry list of teams I was wrong on. First, I want to apologize to all the Vanderbilt fans out there. I was wrong on y'all this year. I didn't think Clark Lee would make it through the entire season. And I apologize for being wrong. Number 2, Baylor. I missed on Baylor in the preseason. I said they were only going to win 3 games, and Dave Aranda was going to be out of a job, looking for a new job, or looking for a job at McDonald's. Baylor fans, I apologize. I'm sorry. Indiana. Here's the big apology. I'm sorry for saying y'all were only going to win 5 games this year. I am sorry. Y'all did get Army. Same thing. I said y'all were going to be mid-table in the American. Boy, was I wrong. Congratulations on being in the American Championship game. UConn fans, I understand you're a basketball school, but now I'm starting to think, and I'm sorry for saying that y'all were only going to win 2 to 3 games this year. I was dead wrong. Now we get to the Arizona schools. Arizona State. First of all, I want to apologize. Kenny Dillingham, I doubted you. And good job. You made me look not particularly smart. I said you were going to only win 2 games this year. and you go out and you go 8-2, no 9-2 now, and you're one win away from winning 10 games and being in the conference championship game. Good job using me as an analyst, as bulletin board material, as we like to say on the show. In Arizona, I was very wrong. I said you were going to be in the Big 12 championship game and that you were going to win the Big 12. And I'm going to throw a bonus team in here. Utah. I was wrong on you too. I said you guys were going to be in the Big 12 championship game as well. And oh boy, did I miss big time on that? I did. Now we get to the teams that we think have bright futures in 2025 and beyond. And Bradley, I will let you start.
I'm going to start with the team on my hat. I think since Golish has come in, the atmosphere at USF as far as a football team has changed. Obviously, we get an on-campus stadium in 2027. So we've got 2 more years of playing at Raymond James Stadium, and then we move to the on-campus stadium, which they're all excited about. I have a funny feeling the first year that the stadium opens up, it will be sold out every game, no matter who they're playing against, just to experience the new stadium. So I'm going to go with USF as, 2025 and beyond. I'm going to say Indiana. Gennady is a good head coach. He's been successful everywhere.
Google it.
He's been everywhere he's been. He's been successful. I can't see, and again, he's got a good thing going, and if he continues to have winning seasons, he's going to get kids from Indiana and from the neighboring states to come play for the Hoosiers. Again, that's another one of those basketball schools because Indiana never really has had a good football team, I think, since Lee Corso was their head coach, and that's a long time ago. So Indiana is in there. I like Alex pick, Michigan State. I think they're on the rise. Michigan has had, obviously they have the chokehold on the state anyway. Michigan State's always the little brother of the state. But I think Sparty is starting to say, okay, well, you're not going to push us around anymore. I think Michigan State is on the rise. Let's see. I'm trying to think of anybody else. Vanderbilt would be another one that could be good from here on out. Everything's moving in the right direction for them. Then, like I said, we'll be sitting here next year and they didn't win a game. That'll be the way it'll be. But those are my teams, my 4 teams moving forward. If I come up with any more, I'll let you know. But those are my 4 off the top of my head that I can think of moving forward.
I've got 4, and one of them, I guess you could call me a homer since I went and saw a game there this year. But number 1 is Georgia Tech. I can see now why people say they're the sleeping giant in the ACC that no one wants to play, because look what they've done the last couple of years to Miami. They've run fits around Miami. So that's number 1. Number 2, and I know Bradley's going to like this one, the Florida Gators. I believe not in Joe Hendry. I believe in DJ Lagway. For those of you that don't know, I am also a WWE fan. That's why I made that reference. But I believe in DJ Lagway and Billy Napier. My confident, I like I said, I am not a diehard Gator fan, but I do follow the Gators. And my confidence level on Billy Napier throughout the season, I thought they would give up on. I thought the locker room would at some point give up on him, but they haven't. Instead, they've done a full 180, and something clicked during the bye week, and all of a sudden they've come out and they've been playing like with their hair on fire. And I think they have a bright future. Not only with Lagway, but when Lagway leaves, the kid, the 4-star QB that's coming in. Number 3, and we could have talked about them a minute ago in the record predictions, but we didn't. I think Tulsa does have a bright future, regardless of who they get at their head coach, because they know they're in the AAC. And there could be a year where, like next year, ECU could be good. USF probably will be good. Army will probably be good. Navy will probably be good again. But there's always that one team that, they had a bad year last year. There's no way that they can turn that around and fix it. Wrong. Look at Indiana. Indiana the last few years. And this is going to lead to what I have to say about Tulsa. Look at Indiana the last few years. They were bad. Look at them this year. They get a good head coach, and all of a sudden, they start the season undefeated. I think if Tulsa gets a good head coach, you could kind of see the same, what's the word I'm looking for? The same mojo with Tulsa that you have with Indiana right now with Cignetti. And then the last one, and yes, I know you're probably going to call me a homer because I just had them as a sleeper team. I also have them as a team with a bright future, Virginia Tech. Brett Pry. I think Kyra Jones has got 2 more years. Brett Pry is a heck of a recruiter, as to what I've been told by some Virginia Tech fans and a couple people within the athletic department there. One of them being the guy that was able to hook me up, was sitting in the press box when I went to the game. Because I did have a conversation with him after the game. And I asked him out, how's the recruiting out here with Brett? How's the recruiting at Virginia Tech for football with Brett Pry? And he said it's really good. We get 3 and 4-star recruits, a couple 5 stars every so often. So I don't get the smoke screen that people are trying to throw that, Brett Pry, if he loses out, is on the hot seat. I don't believe that. I think they have a bright future. And now we're going to do our hot takes for 2025. And I will let Bradley go first.
Hot takes for 2025. Look for Colorado to continue success. I don't think Deion goes anywhere. I know everyone's thinking he's going to take the job in Dallas. I don't think he does. I think he stays.
Or at FSU.
Or at FSU. I think he stays in Colorado. He's got a good thing going there. He's got kids coming to that program. I know he's going to lose Travis Hunter and his son Shador to the draft this year in April.
He might also lose. I think he's losing Shiloh too.
Both? Okay. So if he loses those 3 guys, obviously it'll be a rebuild. I think we talked yesterday about a kid that is going to go there anyway, or was supposed to go there.
He is Julian Lewis.
So that'll be something that he can look forward to in getting these. Now, obviously, we both know he's not going to have Travis Hunter. You're not going to have another kid like that.
No.
That can play both sides of the ball. Let's see. The hot takes for 2025. Alec hit it on his teams. The Gators. I think the Gators continue to move forward. Everybody wanted to run Billy Napier out of town. And you know what? I was even trying to buy into the Kool-Aid too, that maybe it was time for them to get rid of him. And like they said, go into the bye week. Now they play on fire. I think they are going to lay 60 on FSU this weekend on Saturday. I'll be calling the USF game. I won't get a chance to watch the game unless I leave it on the TV and mute it. But I'm looking forward to them laying a bunch. I'm going to say this. I think FSU continues to struggle, and Norvell either has next year to get it halfway cleaned up, because if they don't, he's gone. I know he's been paid a huge buyout. Will FSU pay that? We'll have to wait and see. And then, of course, who are they going to replace as head coach? I think Penn State they're kind of like a one-hit wonder. I don't see them being the same team they were this year, next year, because I think Ohio State's going to get better. Michigan's going to get better. Michigan State's on the rise. Indiana's on the rise. Wisconsin's kind of laying in the weeds, waiting. Iowa's a tough one. So I think Penn State's going to be the writing will be on the wall in 2025 for them. But then I could be wrong and they can go lose one game next year to Ohio State. So I mean that could happen too. But those are kind of my hot takes for the 2025 season.
Okay, I've got 5. I'm going to start. 2 of them, I think one of them are both going to like. One of them you're going to really like. The first one is Byron Brown throws 55 touchdown passes next year for USF, on way to being a finalist for the Heisman.
Ooh, that would be great.
Number 2, and this is a piping hot take, because they've only won 2 games this year. I think you know where I'm going. It's a team we've picked on the entire year because they just moved to the FBS. Kennesaw State wins 9 games next year. Number 3, Virginia Tech wins the ACC. I tried it this year, and it how do I put it? It blew up in my face. I'm going to try it again as a hot take. And then DJ Lagway wins the Heisman Trophy.
Wow. Okay.
Not Carson Beck if he comes back. Not Nico Iamaleava. Not whoever starts your quarterback for Ohio State.
Not Arch Manning.
Not Arch Manning. Now, if I had to go in and say my top 4 for Heisman going into next year, DJ Lagway, Byron Brown, and I know I'm gonna get dogged for that because that's group of 5. Arch Manning and whoever starts your quarterback for Ohio State, whether it's Tavion St. Clair, Jillian Sant, Aaron Nolan, or out of the far out in left field, Devin Brown, if he doesn't transfer, which I think he's going to transfer, because I don't think he sees fit in, like we talked about yesterday with him, I don't think he sees fit in staying at Ohio State. But now we get to our way too early 2026 12-team playoff bracket. Well, yeah, bracket / teams that we are predicting right now that are going to make the playoff next year. And again, you can go first.
For 2025, so that's next season. So we have to go through the 4 conference champions. I think Ohio State wins the Big Ten. So they'll be one of the teams that has the bye. I think Texas wins the SEC again. The Big 12, I'm gonna go and say Colorado wins the Big 12 next year, despite losing all of their talent to the NFL. I think Deion brings enough guys and motivates them, because we all know that Deion is a motivator, not an X's and O's coach. We all know that. We know that hands down. And that leaves, let's see, Big 12, Big 10. What is that? What conference? Oh, the ACC. You know what? I'm going to go with Alec. He just said his hot take. I'm going to take Vatek as the ACC champion. So he'll be one of the guys that gets the bye. So that leaves now the 5 through 12 teams. I'm going to go Iowa State is one of the teams that gets there out of the Big 12. I think they'll be kind of in the mix with Colorado next year. I hate to say this, I'm going to say Tennessee. will be fine.
I see the pain in your face saying
yeah.
that.
I'm going to say Georgia as well. I think 3 SEC teams get in, but I also think 3 Big Ten teams get in. I'm going to say Oregon again, and I'm going to go out on a far limb, and I'm going to say Michigan State is a playoff team next year. When it's all said and that's what, 3, 6, 10. I'm missing 2 teams. I'm going to go Boise State. I don't know about because if they lose their running back, I don't know if they'll be
Genty.
but that's the Mountain West. The winner of the American, I'm going to say Army again. I think Army's just as good as they were this year again. And I think that leaves one team. So that's one of the at-large guys. Oh wow. You know what? Throw Kennesaw State in there as an absolute sleeper at number 12. Let's just say that. I'll go on.
Okay. So my top 4: Ohio State winning the Big Ten, Texas winning the SEC, Virginia Tech getting in at 3 as the ACC champ, Colorado at 4 as the Big 12. Then we get 5 through 12. Oregon out of the Big Ten, Florida out of the SEC, Georgia out of the SEC, Bama out of the SEC. So that's 4 SEC teams. Then you've got out of the Big Ten, Michigan State. Big Ten again, Washington, Texas A&M out of the SEC. And then at 12, to everyone's surprise, South Florida is the AAC champ over Army.
I like that.
Now, and we meant to do this yesterday, we are going to pull up we did the SEC. No, it was the Big 12 we did, right? Yesterday. When we did who's going to make. Yeah. So we have to do the MAC. Because it's a similar thing with the MAC.
It was the Big 12 yesterday, but that we were trying to figure out which out of the 4 teams that are 6-2 in the conference to get to the championship game. So is the MAC the same way?
Oh. You've got Miami 6-1 in conference, Ohio 6-1 in conference, Bowling Green 6-1 in conference, and then Buffalo 6-2. And nobody's clinched in the MAC. None of those teams have clinched a spot in the championship game yet. So the 3 likely, and I think the tiebreakers are if Miami wins, they're in. And if Bowling Green and Miami play each other, I believe. Let me pull that up. Let me pull up the MAC schedule. Well, we have it right here. That's not what I needed. So I can tell you for sure, because I know tiebreaker. Where's the Mid-American? So you've got Friday, Bowling Green and Miami of Ohio, Ball State, Ohio. So Miami wins, they're in the MAC championship. Bowling Green wins. Bowling Green beats Miami of Ohio. Bowling Green's in the MAC championship. If Ball State beats Ohio, that would mean that Buffalo would get into the conference championship game. So there's still a run for the top 4 you see there.
Mm-hmm.
Out of those 4, who are the 2 likeliest to make it?
I'm going to say the 2 Ohio teams. I'm going to say Miami of Ohio and the Ohio Bobcats. The Battle of Ohio and the MAC. And it's all said and done.
I think some odd reason. So 7-4. Miami 7-4. Okay, so no, Miami beats Bowling Green. That knocks Bowling Green down to third. No, fourth, right? Because then Buffalo's 8-4. Miami's 8-3. No, Miami's 8-4. I'm gonna say Miami of Ohio, and this ruins my MAC pick because I had Toledo, and Toledo just quote unquote they laid an egg, and they ruined my MAC championship game because in the preseason I said it was going to be Toledo and Miami in the MAC championship game. Well, you see where Toledo is.
Mm-hmm.
There's no shot they make it. So I'm going to have to go Miami of Ohio and Buffalo.
Okay.
And I mean, I guess we could give a couple score predictions.
Okay.
But we're going to do it a different way. I'm going to, instead of doing it through the screen, I'm going to have it up on my phone, and I'm going to tell you the game, and we can tell you what we think the final score is going to be. Bowling Green, Miami of Ohio. I'll let you go first. Spread is 2.5 in favor of Bowling Green, and Bowling Green's at home, and the total is 40 points.
So they're getting the normal 3 at home because the home team usually gets a favorite by 3 when they're at home. I'm going to say Miami of Ohio 30, Bowling Green 24.
I'm going to go 30-24 Miami of Ohio as well. Ball State and Ohio. Ohio's a 15-point favorite at home, and the total is 52.5.
I'm going to say 40-7 Ohio over Ball State, even if they even get one touchdown.
I'm going to say 42-0 Ohio. Then we've got the Battle of the Michigans, Eastern and Western. Total is 56.5, and Western is favored by 7.
I'm going to say Central wins because Jim McElwain is retiring.
No. Western Michigan and Eastern Michigan.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wrong one.
It's the battle of the bull. The winner of this game gets a bowl to go to a bowl game.
I'm going to say Western Michigan wins 20-17.
Eastern Michigan 20-17. Now Central Michigan. Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois is a 13-point favorite. Total is 44. 44 points.
I'm gonna take the Chippewas because Jim McElwain is hanging it up. I'm gonna say they win a close game, 20-17. Or let's do 28-21.
I'm going 28-21 Central Michigan as well. Now we go to the ACC, and we're going to start with Georgia Tech. Clean, old-fashioned hate. This ain't your normal Georgia Tech team, and Georgia's favored by 19.5. Total's 53.
No, I think it's going to be a lot closer than a lot of people think it's going to be. I'm going to say 42-40 Georgia in a very close game.
Georgia fans are not going to be happy with me. I'm going to say 42-40 Georgia Tech. South Carolina, Clemson. Clemson's a 2.5-point favorite. 49 points is the total.
I'm going to say the Gamecocks steal one. I'm going to say they win 27-14.
I'm going 27-14 as well. South Carolina. Miami, Syracuse. Syracuse is a 11.5-point underdog. Total is 67 points.
So they're expecting a lot of points by both those teams. I'm going to say 56-35 Miami.
56-35 Syracuse.
Upset.
You were wondering what time the Gator game's at? It's at 7 p.m.
Oh, I'm actually going to my buddy's house to watch the Survivor Series, so I guess I can watch it on my phone while I'm at his house watching. He's a Knowles fan too. On top of that, so that should be
Okay, Virginia Tech, Va Tech, and UVA. Total's 48. Va Tech is a 7.5-point favorite.
I think they stopped Virginia. I'm going to say 48-14 Tech.
I'm going to say 48-14 Virginia Tech as well. And we're going to throw something in here we never talk about. We're going to talk about Survivor Series for a little bit. Because as I just heard, you are a wrestling fan.
Yes, I am. I'm not as big one, but as I used to be. But I watch YouTube religiously. I think I watch on a week's basis, anywhere from about 8 to 9 hours on YouTube a week, and some of that is watching Raw and SmackDown highlights. And I'm not afraid to admit that. So yeah,
I'm not afraid to admit it either. I've been to WrestleMania. I've been to Monday Night Raw a few times. So what do we think of the main event? Which bloodline's going to win, and is The Rock going to return?
I think The Rock will return. I think there's been some stipulations behind the scenes that he is in charge of the new one under Solo. I still can't believe that Paul Heyman got CM Punk to come back. That was cool. If you're a wrestling fan, there are certain songs that you hear that give you goosebumps. Obviously, Stone Cold's Glass Breaking. We all have that issue. The Rock. But when you
The Undertaker's
Hell's Bells, I like Edge is my favorite. So when you hear On This Day happen, but I know he's in AEW now. But I like the new bloodline. I think CM Punk is going to be kind of him and Roman don't really get along with each other. So you're kind of thinking, how are they going to get along? I say the old bloodline wins, but The Rock is going to do something to provoke Roman. And I see those two at each other at WrestleMania in April in a few months from now. So that's my take on that one. So
I'm thinking the same thing, but then there's theories out there that Heyman brought Punk back, and I didn't notice this when Heyman came back on Friday. I don't know if you did, but the suit he was wearing, and people are saying, oh, the OG bloodline, they wore the same suit, like the same colors, like Roman did. But I don't. Something just feels fishy with Paul Heyman. The fact that he brung CM Punk back, something to me screams. And Heyman's always been a heel when it comes to being a manager. Like you look at Brock Lesnar, you look at CM Punk, you look at Ryback, you look at Curtis Axel, Jack Swagger. He's always been a heel in terms of being a manager. He's never been a face. So I have a sneaky hunch that something tells me that Paul Heyman might be pulling some strings. He might turn heel against Roman and CM Punk and bring in Braun Breaker to be his new client. Or people are saying, oh, this is going to lead to Brock coming back. I don't think that happens because Brock is part of the Vince McMahon, the lawsuit. I can't see. I can't see that happening. And my thing is, I don't care for the new bloodline. I really don't. I think Solo and Punk and whoever else was, they put it front and center. It's a knockoff version of Roman's bloodline. And don't get me wrong, Solo's going to be a world champion at some point. I don't know when.
I agree.
But the one person on that bloodline, the new bloodline that actually scares me, it's not Solo. It ain't the Tongans. It is Jacob Fatu.
I was just about to say. Yeah.
Why do you think Roman never went out and asked the WWE to get Jacob Fatu? Because he knew about the troubles that Jacob Fatu had in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And now, and I just saw this the other day. Now they're talking about there's going to be the bloodline story may never end because they just signed Hikuleo just signed with WWE. Lance on Hawaii signed with WWE. And they're talking about other bloodline members signing with WWE at some point. And I don't think this storyline's ever ending. I do tell you the one that I'll let you chime in and then.
Well, I was going to say, but you look back at WCW and how long they ran the NWO one. I mean, that went for a long time. Then they split up between Hollywood and the Wolfpack and Nash and Hall and Sting. And then you had the Giant or Big Show, whatever you want to call him, and Hogan.
Paul White.
And now he's in AEW as well as a trainer. But yeah, I think if it's drawing eyes, then drawing viewership. They're not gonna get rid of it. You know,
I did tell you, yeah. I tell you the one storyline that I'm getting sick of: the Judgment Day. They never look at what happened when the Usos had the tag team titles. They very rarely defended them. Look what's happening with Judgment Day. They barely defend the tag team titles. And then all of a sudden they defend them and they cheat to win. Mm-hmm. I understand they're heels, I don't get me wrong. I love that Triple H is back in charge of booking, but there's some people that need to be pushed. The Judgment Day does not need to be pushed. And I think they dropped the ball with the biggest part of the Judgment Day, Finn Balor. He should have won the world title a long time ago.
Yep. Damian Priest screwed him out of that.
Well, no, he screwed himself out of that. Because once he got the money in the bank, Priest is like, oh, don't cash in. And then what does Finn do when Priest has the title? He screws him over and ends up having the Ring General win the title. And now we're running it back with Gunther and Priest at Survivor Series. Can we please get a new challenger for the Ring General? I like Priest, but we need to get and then people are saying, oh, if he faces Cena at WrestleMania, Cena's not beating him. This is Cena. What people don't realize is this is Cena's retirement tour.
Mm-hmm.
And Cena was always one of my favorites.
No, yeah. I
especially back in 2015 when you had the whole thing with the Authority.
I don't think any, unless you just absolutely can't stand John Cena. The guy is like a walking saint. I think he's done the most Make-A-Wish things for the WWE.
Yes.
Or maybe the most of any celebrity in general. But yeah, John. The only thing that I would like to see them do with Cena is let him win the belt one more time, break Ric Flair's record. Then, the next night on Raw or SmackDown, whatever show you want to call it, he puts the belt down,
vacated
tournament for the title as they vacate it, and then he goes off and becomes a movie star like The Rock did. Same thing. He steps away. He comes back to make cameos here or there, but outside of that,
or to be put in the Hall of Fame.
Well, yeah, because Ric Flair has already come out and said many times, I want to see John break the record. I have it. I would love to see him do. And I don't think really, if you look at it, there's anyone in the business that would fit that mold better than John. I just, there's not a
No.
lot of guys. And I mean, Rick,
Other than maybe Randy Orton.
maybe Randy's up there too, because Rick was always a heel. If you remember back, Rick was one of the best heels. And God rest her soul, my mom's favorite wrestler was Dusty Rhodes, who was Rick's rival going up.
The American Dream, Dusty
and
Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes, I like what Cody's done. He finished the story. That was a great storyline of him beating Roman. Again, just with Gunther, my bud. I don't know if there's a challenge. I mean, what do you Kevin Owens? That's who they want as their champion.
No,
nothing against Kevin, because Owens is a good guy. But what about Seth Rollins? What about Randy Orton lingering? I know he's hurt at the moment, but
because of Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens. So
and now everybody wants to. I want to say something. Now everybody wants to say, "Oh, this is Cody Rhodes' fault because he teamed with Roman."
Nothing to do with it.
No, that's a completely different storyline. He did a favor for Roman.
I think the dark horse to wins Cody's title is LA Knight. Don't be surprised if they don't throw something in with that, because I know he's the the United States champion right now, but don't think that he's not going to be a world champion in the near future, if not next year. Because
same here. I can see that happening.
He's too
totally
popular from that. If he loses the United States championship, and he's got to have gold on. He's too popular of an athlete right now and he's a face with the fans not to have a belt. So
I am going to make a prediction. I think if he does, I think he's going to win Money in the Bank at some point.
Okay. That's this upcoming. Okay.
Yes, this upcoming year. The storyline that's most interesting to me right now is the Wyatt Six and how they're going after Final Testament. Bray Wyatt, even though he's a little out there, he was one of my favorites. And rest in peace, Bray Wyatt.
Mm-hmm.
R.I.P. Wyndham Rotunda. Your brother is doing a great job in the Wyatt Six. Karrion Kross, I don't think you know what you got yourself into. The Wyatt Six ain't your normal. They ain't your normal group of people.
No.
Especially not Nikki Cross.
No.
She's got a couple loose screws. And then you got Joe Gacy. That he's out there. He's not. How do I say this? He's not normal. And then there's Eric Rowan. And R.I.P. Brody Lee as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because he used to be tag team partners with Eric Rowan. But yeah, that's another storyline that's interesting to me. SmackDown. When are we going to see Tiffany Stratton cash in the Money in the Bank?
I'm going to say Butch has it at Survivor Series during the match, and the only reason is because she has both champs in the ring with her at the moment.
Right for the pickings.
So she lets, again, so what is it? It's her,
Nia,
Liv,
Liv, Raquel.
Morgan, Raquel, and who else? Who are the five? Raquel, Liv, Naomi, or not Naomi.
No.
Sorry. Nia.
No, that's the other team, which we'll get to in a second.
Nia,
Tiffany Stratton, Liv, Raquel.
The girl from the former member of Damage Control.
Dakota.
I think it's Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai.
And then on the other side, you've got Rhea Ripley, Naomi, Bianca Belair, Bayley. and we could get into this in a second about Jade Cargill and who attacked her, but I like the addition of Ripley. I know people are getting tired of her being involved with the Judgment Day, but somehow this has got to loop back around to her winning the title at some point.
Yeah.
And if it means she has to be in War Games, she has to. But now, who do you think attacked Jade Cargill?
I think it's the same two that attacked Rhea Ripley. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Liv and no, to me, that would make the most sense because you take her out. Her and Bianca were the most powerful tag team, I think, in a long time. On the women's side of the bracket, you take out one member, but then what you forget is, and I'm not saying that Bayley is as good as Jane or they're both but Bayley's a good wrestler too, so it's good to see her back. She's one of my favorites.
Oh wait, Io Sky.
Io Sky is their fifth. Is their fifth member?
Yep. Was their fourth because Rhea was 5, and then you had Jade get taken out,
and Bailey.
And that's where Bayley comes in.
Yeah.
See, I have a hunch here that people want to say it's Bianca. And I mean, somewhat I can see that because maybe they're trying to plant the seeds for eventually down the road where they where one turns on the other and they end up having their WrestleMania match. But then again, and this is out in left field, maybe AJ Lee.
There have been
nobody's thinking back. Yeah, nobody thought of that. But
don't leave out Becky Lynch either. She's out there looming around too. Don't leave out the man because she's looming out there too.
You know what? That's a good point. I didn't think of that either.
Yeah,
I didn't think of that.
So unless she magically signs with AEW, don't ever think about Becky Lynch.
I don't see that happening because Seth is still in WWE. And I mean, I know Rhea's in WWE and her husband's in AEW. Mm-hmm. But I can't see Becky doing that. She's too big of a star in WWE.
Yeah, I agree.
And I mean, I understand like Mercedes Moné is in AEW, but in AEW, that's a whole nother.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother thing. But I know that's the one I never thought of with Becky Lynch.
Yeah, she's still out there.
What about somebody from NXT? Tatum Paxley.
I was going to say, who's the NXT Women's Champion at the moment? I'm not.
Roxanne Perez.
There's an opportunity that she could come up during one of these pay-per-views. They always bring up, Paige. They brought Paige up to beat AJ Lee. So don't be surprised if that's not something that Triple H is thinking.
This one's very far out there. Tatum Paxley, because she's a little unhinged. Or for the men's, what if it's not Braun Breaker as Paul Heyman's next client? What if it's Oba Femi? Because he does like his big guys. Look at Jack Swagger. Look at Brock Lesnar. Maybe Oba Femi's the next Paul Heyman guy.
Yeah, because CM Punk's about the only small guy he really has had. He, like you said, he's
Curtis Axel.
Roman, Curtis Axel. Yeah. But for the most part, you're right. He's had mostly big guys: Brock, Roman, the heavyweight guys. What would you call heavyweights in that way? Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk about. Where do you stand? So I know you watched highlights from Raw and SmackDown. Where do you stand on Gunther? Do you think he's a valid world heavyweight champ, or does somebody need to dethrone him?
He's valid. He has a following. Obviously, he's a heel, and the WWE's got to have championships on both sides. You can't just have it all be heels and all faces. It has to be on both sides. So if you look at the world championship, you have Cody, he's a face. You have Gunther, he's a heel. So if you're gonna let Damian win, then what's gonna happen with Cody? Because if you're gonna have faces, then you're gonna have heels that'll have to win all the other ones, or at least a combination of them. I did see Bud. I was just watching right before we came on. I was watching it looks like the New Day could be gone. It looks like Cody and why can I never remember his name? He has a
Kofi
YouTube.
and Xavier.
He has a YouTube channel.
Xavier Woods.
Yeah, good. If you're a gamer, definitely go take a look at his YouTube channel. And I know Big E, I think it's the anniversary of the New Day.
Yeah, people are putting it out there that Big E might return. I can see it, but not as an in-ring competitor. Maybe to try to talk some sense into both of them and say, look, we're the New Day. We're supposed to bring positivity.
That's what they've always been. Yep.
And I love the New Day is one of my favorite tag teams of all time. Don't get me wrong. And we can name our next thing we can do is name our favorite tag teams. But New Day for me, I grew up on the New Day. When they first started is right when I started watching WWE.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, it was three guys thrown together that were doing literally nothing. I mean, Kofi had that little run when he was in Survivor Series the one year. Triple H picked on him for not talking as his Jamaican
accent. Yeah.
But I'm sniffing a heel turn here. Not from Kofi.
Xavier.
Yep. And I think he's going to turn on Kofi and Big E. So something feels off. And people have been pointing it out over the last couple weeks with the outfits they've both been wearing. And how it relates back to Dragon Ball Z and the villains and the good guys and the bad guys. And if you're going to ask me to explain, I don't know because I've never watched Dragon Ball Z.
I don't look at me, buddy. I'm not into comic books or anime or anything like that. My best friend who I'm going to the hockey game with tonight goes to cosplay conventions and knows every anime right and left. I was gonna say they took jabs at each other on Raw backstage, like, hey, Kofi, you wouldn't have won the title if it wasn't for me taking all those bumps for you. And Kofi fires back and says, well, at least I've won a championship. You have not won a singles championship, but me and Big E have. Big E was once the world champion, so he suffered that neck injury, which a lot of people
from Ridge Holland.
I agree with you that I don't think you see him back. I don't think he's going to risk his life to do that. I mean, I know Edge and Paige have both had fusion surgery to, fuse their neck to let them wrestle at some capacity, but I don't really see them taking as their, what do they call those, as bumps, hard bumps as they used to because of that reason. They know what they can take and what they can't take. Yeah, I agree, but I think if anyone is to heel turn inside New Day, it's Xavier because, again, he hasn't won a belt, and maybe he says.
And what people don't realize is he was a heel at one point. He was a heel when he was King of the Ring.
Correct. Yeah.
Kofi's never been a heel. Big E was a heel when he first came up with Dolph Ziggler and
Dolph Ziggler. Yep. Mm-hmm. Bodyguard.
Yep. Okay, so I'll let you go first. Top 5 favorite tag teams of all time.
Oh, wow. Top 5. Well, Edge and Christian, number 1. Again, I'm an Edge fan. Those two, their boys have to be my number 2.
Get the tables.
Get the tables. 3D, definitely. Wow, that's hard. That's a hard.
Where would you put the Shield?
The Shield would probably be in my top 10, not my top 5. I would say in my top 10. I'm going to say Rock and Sock. Mick Foley and The Rock, definitely one. They're in my top 5. I'm trying to think of current tag teams that are now.
Would you put D-Generation X in there?
Probably. I mean, are you referring to Billy Gunn and Road Dogg? Or are you referring
No,
to
Triple H and
Shawn Michaels?
Just Triple H and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, they have to be in the top 5. They have to be. They have to be up there. And you know what? How about the Road Warriors? You got to put them in the top 5. I would guess if it depends again too when you're classifying top thing. It depends on what era you grew up in.
2010 to now.
2010 to now. Well, the New Day has to be up there as far as tag teams. The Shield have to be in that conversation. Oh my Lord. I hate to say Alpha Academy because I know they're no longer. Well, they are still members, but
poor Chad Gable.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say this. I know people like the new American Made. He downgraded.
Well, and he was the target of the
Wyatt Six
for a while too. How about Eric Rowan and Luke Harper?
Luke Harper. Yep.
Those two definitely. And I don't know if
the OG Wyatt family.
I don't know if you would say the Brothers of Destruction. I don't know if that would be 2010.
Yes,
Kane
and
the Undertaker. Yeah.
I could count that. Okay, so for me, the Shield has to be number 1.
Okay.
Because the amount of time they broke up in 2015, got back together in 2018, got back together in 2019. And now you look at it, there's only 2 of them left in WWE because John Moxley, formerly known as Dean Ambrose, is now in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
So the Shield, the New Day, obviously, League of Nations, even though they didn't last very long, because you had 4 guys in here that had big egos, including Alberto Del Rio. Which, who knows what he's doing now? I don't know if he's still wrestling. The OC with AJ Styles and Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. DIY.
DIY, yeah.
And which I think they're going to turn heel soon. I have that sneaky hunch that they're going to turn heel soon. The Street Profits, before they associated themselves with Bobby Lashley. Edge and Christian, the Dudleys.
The
Hardy Boys. Can't leave the Hardy Boys out. I got to see their return at WrestleMania.
One of my favorite matches is their TLC matches.
With Edge and Christian.
They all brought their own swagger, and to see Edge spear, I think it was Jeff Hardy off the ladder. Or he was hanging from the belt, and Edge speared him. Oh my Lord! Anybody that says, yes, we all know that wrestling is scripted. We all know that, but they take injuries. I'm sorry that there's injuries in wrestling.
Look at
how would
perfect example. Look at Randy Orton right now. He just came back from back surgery.
Yep.
And then Kevin Owens uses a prohibited move in professional wrestling, which is the pile driver. And I'm sorry, Nick Aldis should have suspended him. He shouldn't be allowed back in WWE until Randy Orton comes back, which everybody's saying Randy's going to be back within. This was just to write him off TV for a short amount of time, and then he's going to be back, and that's when they're going to start the feud. But I think what people don't realize is I don't think Kevin Owens is the one that's actually going to turn heel on Cody, even though he already did. I think this is a master plan by Randy Orton. Because we all know Randy, you can never trust. Can't trust the master of the RKO.
Nope.
We saw it with the Authority. What happened with the Authority when Randy Orton was in it? He turned on them because of Seth Rollins.
Wasn't he also the one that broke up? What was the group that was Flair, Triple H, him, and Batista? What was that?
Oh, group? Evolution.
He broke up Evolution too. So yeah.
My favorite moment, even though I was a fan of the Shield, was when Triple H, Randy Orton, and Batista came out the night after they lost at, I think it was either Payback or Roadblock in 2015. And Triple H is like, you think you beat me? There's always a plan B.
Mm-hmm.
And Seth took the chair and
get Roman in the back.
That just that broke my heart.
I've been hearing rumor. The rumor was that the fifth member of the OG bloodline
was going to be Seth
Rollins.
Because he's in a feud with Bronson Reed.
Correct. And
which
then
that would have made sense.
And then they were going to then have Dean Ambrose or whatever he's called now,
John Moxley,
come out and interfere with the match in a Shield reunion type thing. But obviously, that's not going to happen now that CM Punk.
That's far fetched. I don't ever see. I understand that Ambrose absolutely despised Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
he never had from what I've heard, because I used to look. A lot of people don't know this. I used to text back and forth with Dean Ambrose when he was in WWE before he left. And his last text message to me was, I never had issues with Triple H. It was always Vince. Because I would go to him on a storyline and he'd come back and say, no, this is what we're actually going to do. And they screwed up big time with his heel turn.
Mm-hmm.
That was, that's when I'm like, Vince, you just need to go. You're so out of touch. And I'm glad, like I said, I'm happy Triple H is running creative now. Because I don't know if I'd still be watching it if Vince was in charge of creative.
Vince is in a lot of trouble, and everything that's out about him seems to be true, because I don't see anything.
And apparently him and his wife got divorced.
And now she is the Secretary of Education for Donald Trump. She's on Donald Trump's staff, the new president coming in January. So, she was she's his pick for Secretary of Education.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, Vince, and I haven't watched the documentary on Netflix, but I've heard from people that, it is bad for Vince. Everybody that came out against him, even some people even said that Triple H came out against Vince.
Well, if the rumors, I shouldn't say rumors, if what happened is real, first of all, human trafficking is absolutely disgusting, and I know it happens. We're in that type of world. But if he did that to bring in talent to the WWE and he used her, and I'm assuming she's not the only one. I can guarantee you she's not the only one that he did use. He's in a lot of trouble, and so is James Laurinaitis. They're both in
People power.
So, I mean, I know the Bella,
the Bella twins. I don't think
they're divorced or whatever they are now, but yeah.
Well, no, Brie is still married to Brian Danielson. Nikki Bella, she's married now, but it's not to Cena. Which, well,
they were talking too about her possibly coming back, not as a wrestler, but as just a voice or a face to come back.
Which I wouldn't mind. She was really good.
Yeah,
but it's. And then, I mean, do you watch any AEW like highlights?
That I don't. I don't. I mean, I know when Edge first went over there, he had the feud with Christian. Obviously, they know each other from the WWE days, and WWF days. I mean, if you want to go back that far, but yeah, I don't pay too close attention to AEW. I just stick with the W. I was a WCW fan. So I'll admit that right now. I was a WCW guy, and I always, and we will, obviously now we will never see that match. I wanted to see Sting and Undertaker at WrestleMania. We're never going to see that now. It's not going to happen. They're both way past. Both, I think, are retired now fully.
No. Well, yes, but Sting and the other company.
Yeah, Sting's with AEW. Yeah.
But and then the Undertaker did make a appearance at WrestleMania.
He did to help Cody. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if you watched that match. That was absolute cinema.
Yeah.
That match. Oh. First you had Solo coming out to try to help. Then you had it was Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had Jay come out and put Jimmy through a table. Then it was Cena. Solo tried to get involved. And then The Rock comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, okay, it's either going to be Stone Cold, which I think everybody would have lost their mind if Stone Cold came out.
If you heard
he was rumored to be coming back for that.
Yeah, if you heard the glass break at WrestleMania with The Rock in the ring, which if you go back and watch I forget what WrestleMania it was, when Hogan was in the ring with Stone Cold and then The Rock came out, and at the end of The Rock's speech, he said, well, my best friend, the guy that he actually envied and wanted to be wrestling with at all times was Austin. Those two matches, other than Triple H, and I'm not a huge Triple H fan, I never really was. But
I'll say this. In terms of wrestling for Triple H, not a huge fan. As the head of creative and the COO of the company, absolutely.
Yeah, big time. I agree.
But yes, if you go back and watch The Rock versus Stone Cold and their promos they had, The Rock is the best mic worker in WWE.
Didn't The Rock throw Stone Cold off a bridge? Didn't he throw him off a bridge? And his belt too. He threw his belt, his skull belt.
The Rock has some of the best, not only promos, especially his one against Cena when he called him Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. The Rock. I think there's no one better on the mic. Maybe CM Punk. Both of them. I think between those two, it's
my favorite Punk promo wasn't the pipe bomb. It was when he was in the feud with Triple H. And he said, this is not CM Punk talking to Triple H. This is Phil Brooks talking to Paul Levesque.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The real name.
And the second one was the pipe bomb. And after that day, I'm like, there's no way CM Punk is ever coming back to WWE.
Well, and then he won the belt and walked away. He won the championship and
then he walked away, and everybody's like, okay, He's never coming back. Then he goes to AEW, and that's a whole cluster because of all the fights he had with everybody. Whether it be Jack Perry. I think the only friends he had over there were FTR, formerly known as I can't remember what their name was in WWE. But they were really good in WWE. Oh, the Revival.
Oh, okay.
But those were really the only friends he had, because everybody else absolutely despised him. Even John Moxley.
Well, look at Seth Rollins when he came back at WrestleMania. He was pissed. Rollins.
Oh, about Cody?
Or about Punk. About Punk coming back. He was like, "What are you doing here? You left. You took off. You blasted everyone, creative, Vince, everybody. You blasted everybody on your way out of here, and now you're back. You're back." Yeah, he did not.
Same with Cody. He didn't like that Cody came back.
Yeah. No, because Cody went to AEW as well. The evolution of AEW.
And then look at the one I can't stand right now is Drew McIntyre.
Or is
they gave him a long break because he was dealing with family. I guess his grandma or somebody passed away, and they were giving him time off. But I love seeing this his downfall he's going through. And now there's a rumor out there that when he comes back, he might have a feud with Wade Barrett.
Oh wow, the announcer, the announcer guy, yeah.
I'm afraid I've got some bad news. Wade Barrett was another good one.
He was.
And then the group, I never understood that why they even came together was Nexus. It just seemed like they were.
Wade Barrett ran them. He was there.
He ran them. Then it was CM Punk.
Yeah.
Then you had Cena try to run him for a little bit, and that didn't work because Cena's over as all can be.
Right.
I think if we had to make predictions right now, going in next year, going into 2025, who do we think is going to be? Let's start over on SmackDown. Who's going to be WWE champion? Is it still going to be Cody, or is somebody going to take the title from him?
I think it'll be Cody, but until WrestleMania. I think at WrestleMania,
and then The Rock takes it away from him.
Something along those lines. It'll be something. Either that, or there'll be a heel turn where Randy Orton will get it, or Seth Rollins will get it. Somebody within that crew, or you know what, even go on a limb and say Kevin Owens. But I'm just saying, somebody within Cody's friend group is going to be the ones that are going to screw him. I think he holds on until April for what is it, a year, 2 years, however long he's had it around his waist.
United States champion. Is it still going to be LA Knight by WrestleMania next year, or is somebody going to take it off of him?
Probably take it off of him, and then it'll lead to him being the heavyweight champion. I think LA Knight will be the one that'll be the next champion. And you know what? He might end up going back to heel once he wins the title. I wouldn't be surprised because he was a good heel. I wouldn't be surprised.
Who takes the title off of LA Knight?
But I hate to say Logan Paul because Logan Paul's already had it already. I watched the boxing match. His brother and
I don't care for either of them.
With the Paul brothers is until somebody beats them, they're not going to shut up. That's it. That's just who they are. That's who they are.
All they do is
until somebody shuts them up, until somebody beats Jake in the ring, a legit boxer,
fair and square,
not these celebrity boxers that he gets. If somebody in this class beats him, then he'll shut up. As far as Logan goes, I mean, he's had a good run in the. Again, he was one of the Seth Rollins, another one that didn't like him. Oh, you're just a showboat. who is going to
But
win?
Seth's kind of came around on him though.
Yeah, who's
He's
going
done
to
a
win
full 180.
the United States title if they take it off LA Knight?
I've got somebody for you, Carmelo Hayes.
Okay.
I can totally see that. Or maybe, bold prediction, it's way out there. Because they did have an interaction backstage last week. Carmelo Hayes taking the belt off of Cody.
Could be.
But would people feel like that's rushed if they take it off of Cody and give it to somebody that's an up-and-comer?
Well,
Like Carmelo Hayes.
Did they feel that it was rushed when Paige beat AJ Lee?
No, but I mean, she just came up. I mean, Carmelo Hayes has been on the main roster for a little bit.
Okay.
But do they feel like it's time for Carmelo Hayes yet to be the world champion, or does he start with the U.S. title?
I was going to say, give him the U.S. or Intercontinental Championship. Let him run with the belt a little bit. See if he gets some crowd or some backing.
Well, he's a heel.
Oh, he's a heel? Yeah. I
mean, because I remember I watched NXT a lot, and he used to be paired with Trick Williams. And Trick was about to win the NXT title, and Carmelo Hayes cost him the NXT championship. And that's what started his heel turn. And he's been a heel ever since he got to the main roster.
Okay.
You know what? I just thought of this. You know who else could take the belt off of LA Knight? He came back from AEW. Andrade.
Oh, okay.
Tag team titles. SmackDown. Who do you think takes him off of the Motor City Machine Guns?
I think they keep him. I think that's one of the belts that continues on to past WrestleMania. I would say they keep him.
Until after Mania?
Till after Mania. Maybe they lose him at SummerSlam or one of the other, because it's WrestleMania and then SummerSlam is like the second biggest pay-per-view of the year.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I could see a heel, either Street Profits or DIY, taking the titles off of Motor City Machine Guns. I don't want to see the Bloodline, the new Bloodline, with the tag titles again. Don't get me wrong. The only new Bloodline member I like is Tama Tonga, because he's a little bit unhinged. But I don't want to see them with the titles again. Now, we switch over to Raw. No, Women's Championship on SmackDown. Who takes the Women's Championship from Nia? I feel like I know who you're going to say.
Tiffany Stratton.
Yep. I'm going to say the same thing. I think it's Tiffy time.
Yeah. Tiffany Stratton.
I think she takes it. Now, they just announced, and I don't know if you saw on when you watched the highlights last week of SmackDown, the Women's United States Championship. Who do you think is going to be the first champion there?
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that they announced that they were going to give them the title. That's good. It's
good
that
they started a triple threat, like a tournament. Bayley, Naomi's in it. Bayley. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's going to be Michin, because I feel like she's done a lot of good, not only character work, but her matches have gotten a lot better.
Okay.
If you had to make a prediction, who do you think? Could you see Naomi?
I'm going to say Io Sky. For some off-the-wall reason, when she has gold, and I mean, she's a high flyer. A lot of people like to see the high flyers. I know she's in the Survivor Series match. I guess on the face side of the thing, because the heels are the other side of it. But yeah, I would say Io Sky, or who is the one that she's got a YouTube channel too. She's the one that wore the mask that has the purple and the blue hair, or pink and blue hair, and I can't think of her dang name now. The one that took the belt when Becky Lynch went out. or being pregnant. Oh, why can I not remember?
Asuka.
Asuka. She'll come back. Maybe they'll give her, because I watched her YouTube channel. She has all her belts that she's won on her couch. It's so cool how many belts that woman has. Want to add that one to her collection. So, yeah.
Women's tag team titles. Bianca and Jade hold them right now. Who do you think takes it off of Bianca and Jade?
Wow. How about Rochelle and Liv Morgan?
You mean Raquel and Liv? Yeah,
Yep.
I could see that, or I could maybe see. And I hate that they're a faction. PFC, Pure Fusion Collective, with Sonya Deville, and where have they been?
Yeah,
I know it's a 2-hour Raw, but where have they been?
Yeah,
I don't care for Sonya Deville, but because of what she did to Mandy Rose when Mandy Rose was trying to have that whole love angle with Otis. But switching over to Raw, World Championship. Who do you think takes it off of Gunther?
Damian Priest. It's going to happen this weekend.
I can see that, or maybe Braun Breaker when he drops the IC title, because everybody's saying he's the next big thing. Speaking of the IC title, who takes the IC title off of Braun Breaker?
Sheamus.
I can see that too, fella. Banger after banger. That's another team that really, I'm going to say this. I feel like the Brawling Brutes, they had so much potential. And WWE dropped the ball with them as a team. And I don't actually, I could see Sheamus taking it off of a Braun Breaker, and then I could see him dropping it to Pete Dunne to give Pete Dunne his first singles championship. Now, this one's going to be controversial. The tag team titles on Raw. Who takes the tag titles off of Judgment Day?
The Wyatt Six. Why not? Why not? Put somebody in there against those two. That's the whole, to dissolve Judgment Day. You send the Wyatt Six after them. They dissolve because they're scared, and that's who takes the titles.
I have two. One would be the Wyatt Six. And why is nobody talking about the little wrinkle in the Judgment Day? What about if Dominic Mysterio leaves the Judgment Day and turns face again and reunites with his dad?
Oh, okay.
To take the titles off of Judgment Day, because I've been getting hints every time they have the little interactions backstage that somebody's going to either turn heel or somebody's going to turn face. And I know people want to see Dominic stay as a heel. I thought he did better as a face. I'm not going to say I don't care for him as a heel, but I don't mind him as a heel, but just not in the Judgment Day. Get him out of the Judgment Day. It doesn't seem like they care about him. And then what the heck is Carlito doing in the Judgment Day? What? I like Carlito, but why is he in the Judgment Day? And I just have to laugh. He's over here trying to rizz up Raquel. Buddy, Carlito, Raquel's out of your
league.
Raquel, yeah, she's way younger than you are, and I think they just threw him in there because they had nothing else for him. And apparently in 2025, he was supposed to be getting a push. But then he made a comment backstage that was very controversial. And now his push in 2025 might be getting dropped. But who outside of WWE could you see returning to WWE? Obviously, I want to say Edge, but I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I think Edge is going to step away from AEW. I think he's got family, you know, with Beth Phoenix and their kids. Wow, what star outside?
You know what? I'll give you a couple.
AJ Styles.
He's still in WWE.
Oh, is he? Okay.
He's hurt. But I'll give you a couple. One, Malachi Black, formerly known as Aleister Black.
Mm-hmm.
He is not happy in AEW. And he has stated multiple times, now that Triple H is in charge of creative, he would love to come back to WWE. So that's one. And same with Buddy Matthews. He said now that Triple H is in charge of creative, he'd like to come back too. And that would make a lot of sense because his wife is in WWE. Rhea Ripley.
Mm-hmm.
So that would make a lot of sense. Bring both of them back. But Tony Khan is a punk. He's not just going to let these guys walk. Penta and Rey Fenix are supposed to be coming to WWE. And I guess Rey Fenix has been hurt. And there's people out there saying that Tony Khan's going to add another 1 or 2 years to his contract because of injury. And he could do the same thing with Malachi Black and Buddy Matthews. And then you got Ricky Starks, who was at WrestleMania when Cody won the title. And he's been rumored to be coming to WWE. But apparently he just met with Tony Khan. Well, he was at an indie show last week and did a promo. And I guess it didn't sit well with Tony Khan, and now he pulled all of his superstars from that indie promotion and told him you can't go there anymore because of that. And then, this is far-fetched. I'd love to see Jon Moxley come back to WWE. Now that Triple H is back in office, I mean, not back in office, but now that he's as running creative, everybody said Punk would never come back. Hell froze over. Can hell freeze over again? I believe it can. And then there's one more. And he just re-signed with AEW, but he's been talking a lot of mess about WWE. Maxwell Jacob Freeman. MJF. The knockoff Walmart version of Miz. Which Miz is another one I can't really stand. But I like the work he's doing with Final Testament right now. And I think, and we can leave it off on this because I know you have to get off by 3. But I think this is the best work Karrion Kross has done his whole time in WWE.
I would agree, but I would agree with that.
And we can pick this up next week.
Sounds good. Well, if you want to, but on Tuesday, we go back on Tuesday night. Once we talk, if you want to talk about Survivor Series.
we can.
Survivor
Tuesdays
Series.
can be dedicated to WWE going forward. And then we do
good.
Thursday and Fridays are college football.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
I can
See
do
you
that.
Tuesday.
All right, but have a good Thanksgiving.
I will. You too.